Dear dignitary viewers and audience and distinguished participants, allow me to welcome you to the Center for Study of Global Economic Future E-Symposium titled Geoeconomics of Energy in MENA, the Fossil Fuel Dimension. Allow me to share my views on the economics and geoeconomics of energy. Forces such as energy transition, energy security, renewables, technological advancement, oil reserve, interest rate, and other macroeconomic variables and economic competitions are reducing global demands for hydrocarbons. But the fact remains that hydrocarbon will remain a significant time important component of the energy mix. To fully grasp the economics of oil requires that we understand the factors impacting supply and demand, or the economics of energy and fossil fuel. Oil reserves are an important factor affecting supply perspective. It is referred to as a land factor in the production function. Central to this is the reserve to production ratio. Global proved oil reserves were 1.732 trillion barrels at the end of 2020. Most global reserves are held by OPEC countries. Production function, production infrastructure is of equal importance in the supply equation. Global energy infrastructure, the immense delivery system of oil and natural gas pipeline, power transmission lines, storage facilities, and other projects ensures an affordable and reliable exchange between supply and demand across all sectors of the global economy, ensuring secure and sustainable supply of energy. The sustained surge in the real price of oil in the 2000s is often attributed to the declining real values of various global currency as well as low international real interest rate, along with a surge in the global real economic activity. A drop in real interest rate will be expected to stimulate aggregate demand and by the same token, aggregate demand for energy. On the demand side, economic growth impacts the demand side for energy and fossil fuel. Rising oil consumption reflects rapid economic growth in advanced and emerging economies. Current and expected levels of economic growth heavily influence global oil demand, and oil prices of particular importance are commercial and personal transportation activity. Global growth is projected to slow its third weakest pace in nearly 3 decades, overshadowed only by 2009 and 2020 global recessions. This will have its toll on the demand for transportation and manufacturing process, and subsequently on the demand for oil and hydrocarbon. Energy policy plays an important factor. Oil consumption standards are an energy transportation policy aimed at reducing both oil consumption and demand. Another equally important energy policy factor is a regulatory restriction on combustion engine cars. Additionally, and from a wider strategic perspective, are energy transition policies that will ultimately reduce the demand for hydrocarbons. Population growth remains a key driving force for oil demand for coming decades, specifically from emerging and developing economies, underpinned by rising populations and income. There is a need to assist development in MENA energy sector and its transformation driven by global decarbonization and other factors. The ongoing energy transition may lead to a great transformation of society and economies in MENA country as well as their geopolitics and geoeconomic setting. The energy transition requires substantial investment, which will increase demand and output. This in turn will have a positive effect on global gross domestic product. From a societal perspective, this transformation has far-reaching consequences. Important outcomes are innovative business model, new forms of organization, and subsequently new social setups. This in turn will initiate the development of new ways. It will reshape governments and, more importantly, there will be a global redistribution of power. Oil becomes the main source of energy at the global level right after World War II. However, the main proven oil reserves of fossil fuel were in particularly located in the MENA region. There was a recognition of the dependence on this energy source by the fossil fuels economy and the fossil fuel producing economies. This in turn impacted the structure of the international relations system and therefore augmented the geopolitical position of the MENA region. Yes, prosperity was a direct result, but also come with it inter-regional conflicts. Global energy transition will have an impact on MENA political advantage status. Such political status will not be diminished, but it will be impacted. Fossil fuel will continue to be consumed, but its economic and geopolitical value will decrease relatively, allowing for other energy sources. The advent of the Ukraine war had adversely affected the game of geopolitics and geoeconomics that was prevalent after Cold War, with a strong implication on the MENA region geoeconomics and geopolitical landscape. The war affected the supply of fossil fuels and switched the demand on conventional markets to affect the trade of fossil fuel and pressured for new arrangements. This was further exacerbated by several geoeconomic flashpoint contests in the MENA region. This E-Symposium on the Geoeconomic of Energy in the MENA region, the fossil fuel dimension, will provide platform to perceive the latest development by leading energy experts, geopolitical and geoeconomic thought leaders, and energy industry leaders. It will offer a high-quality content to suit diverse range of audience, policymakers, geoeconomists, and geopoliticians, experts, energy regulators, and policymakers. It will also serve as a perfect platform to discuss the current development in the field of fossil fuel. I welcome you all to present your views in this timely and important topic. I will leave the floor now to Dr. Renee Castaneda, Professor at the College of Security and Global Studies at the American University of the Emirates, our moderator for this event. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Mr. Mahmood Sharif, Managing Director of the Center for the Study of the Global Economic Future. On behalf of the Center for the Study of the Global Economic Future, I want to welcome as well our special guests, Mr. Blakemore, Deputy Director of the Atlantic Council Global Energy Center, who is joining us this evening, and Mr. Landon Derentz, Senior Director, Global Energy Center, Richard Morningstar Chair for Global Energy Security of the Atlantic Council. Welcome, gentlemen. To start with this conversation on the geoeconomics of energy in the MENA region, the fossil fuels dimension, we are going to proceed as follows. The first session, dear Mr. Blakemore, we appreciate if you can share with us a glimpse on the economics of energy, the discussions regarding supply, demand, price, and the producer dynamics, the markets, as well as corporate dynamics, and according to the program, the advent and economic impact of renewable sources of energy in the MENA region. After that, perhaps we can have a short conversation. We are glad as well to have feedback from the next guest speaker. And then we can initiate afterward the second session with Mr. Landon Derentz. We are going to talk about the geoeconomic spotlight, the U.S. MENA policy on fossil fuels, the geoeconomic context and the context of fossil fuel in the Arabian Gulf, the Peninsula, North Africa, the East Mediterranean region.